Across the silent dark of the galaxy, something powerful moved like a ghost through endless space. It had no heat, no sound, no form that normal scanners could understand. Yet every alien sensor within 10 systems suddenly screamed at the same time. A wave of unknown energy had been released from the direction of the human sector. No one knew what it was, but every machine reacted like it had touched death itself. In the council world of Jalor, alarms echoed in massive glass halls. Elite alien commanders rushed toward glowing monitors, their hearts beating in fear. The readings showed a single line of light crossing hundreds of millions of kilometers in a straight path. It cut through the star map like a knife through soft metal. The council did not speak for several seconds, because they all knew what it meant. A weapon had been fired, and no known empire in the galaxy had ever released something so strong. And the source, according to the data, was Earth. Humans had fired something. Something that should not exist. Whispers spread quickly across different worlds. Some alien leaders believed humans had created a star destroyer. Others said humans had unlocked dark energy. A few even claimed humans had made contact with ancient beings and borrowed their power. The galaxy's fear grew faster than the light that traveled from the human borders. Far away, on a small alien scout ship drifting near the Orion Pass, Captain Chiral watched the reading again and again. His purple skin twitched with worry. His eyes remained fixed on the long trail of light that stretched across his holoscreen. It was not a missile, not plasma, not a beam. It was solid matter moving faster than anything he had ever recorded. And the energy coming from it felt unnatural. Like space itself was being cut open. The captain whispered to his crew, "What did the humans do?" But no one answered. Because no one knew. Back on Earth, however, humans were unaware of any chaos. Inside Luna Base, engineers celebrated around a giant screen. They were laughing, cheering, and patting each other on the back. They believed they had completed a normal test of a new railgun design. No one imagined the shot had traveled so far or created such a huge wave of fear across the galaxy. To them, it was just a test, a simple check of a new cannon. They didn't know they had changed the future of every species that lived in the stars. The railgun itself looked harmless enough, standing on a steel platform built into the moon's surface. It was long and metallic, glowing slightly from the energy discharge. The engineers talked about performance, speed, and the beauty of science. None of them suspected the truth that was spreading beyond their solar system. Their weapon had just become the most feared object in the galaxy. And they had no idea. Meanwhile, the Alien Council argued in panic. Some members demanded an immediate strike on Earth before humans tested the weapon again. Others wanted to send diplomats to beg for peace. Some were too shocked to speak. The energy reading showed something impossible. The shot had not slowed down. In fact, it had accelerated after leaving the moon's gravity. No natural weapon did that. No normal technology behaved like that. It was as if the shot had tapped into some hidden power of space itself. The scout ship near Orion Pass tried to approach the glowing trail for scanning. But the moment they got close, their whole ship shook violently. Lights flickered, metal bent, and strange symbols appeared on their monitors that were not part of any known language. The crew screamed as the ship spun uncontrollably. For a moment, it felt like space itself was pulling them apart. Then everything became calm again. The ship stopped shaking, but the crew did not. They realized something horrifying. The railgun shot had changed the fabric of space around it. It was not just dangerous. It was reshaping reality. What did the humans build? The captain whispered again. His voice was shaking now. He knew they needed to warn the galaxy. But as he tried to send a message, all communication systems failed. Static filled every screen, every speaker, every device. It was like something was blocking their signal. Something massive. Something ancient. Something that had awakened because of the railgun shot. Back on Luna Base, one human scientist finally noticed something wrong. He stared at the trajectory data, his heart pounding harder with each number he saw. The shot was not slowing. It was gaining more and more speed. It was not following normal physics anymore. He turned pale as he whispered to himself, "This is not possible." He opened the long-range scans and saw something terrifying behind the shot. A ripple in space, slowly growing, slowly moving, following the same path. The scientist felt his blood go cold. He did not understand what it was. But one thing was clear. They had awakened something. And it was coming. The humans celebrated, unaware of the storm heading their way. The aliens trembled, knowing the galaxy would never be the same. And far in the dark behind the railgun shot, something enormous began to open its eyes. Across the galaxy, fear moved faster than light. Every communication channel, every secret network, every military watch list carried the same message. Something came from the human sector. And no one knew how to stop it. On the massive council planet Jalor, the leaders gathered again inside a huge circular chamber made of crystal walls. Each leader glowed in a different color, their skin reflecting their emotion. Tonight, every color was the same. Fear. A large holoscreen floated above them, showing the railgun shot's path stretching across entire star clusters. Every few seconds the trail pulsed with strange light, like a heartbeat inside space. No natural weapon created a path like that. No normal energy behaved like that. It looked alive. The high speaker of the council slammed his staff on the floor, his voice echoing loudly. The humans have fired something we do not understand. His long silver eyes blinked slowly. If they can fire this again, every empire is in danger. A reptilian general hissed loudly. We strike now, before their weapon evolves. But another alien, tall and thin with transparent skin, shook her head. We cannot attack a species that created this. Her voice trembled as she pointed at the glowing path. If one shot can reshape space, what will 10 shots do? For a moment, silence filled the chamber like heavy fog. Everyone felt the same truth. Humans had become too unpredictable, too dangerous, too fast. One test shot had broken the balance of the galaxy. And no one even knew if humans understood what they had done. Meanwhile, the alien scout ship drifting near the Orion Pass still struggled with broken systems. Their screens kept shaking with symbols they had never seen before. The crew tried to translate them, but the symbols changed every second. It was like the railgun trail was speaking to their computers, rewriting them. Captain Chiral held onto his chair as the ship suddenly drifted toward the glowing path again. It was not gravity pulling them. It was something else. Something intelligent. Something curious. The ship's pilot cried out as their navigation system started spinning wildly. The ship felt like a toy in the hands of a giant invisible force. They tried to steer away, but space bent around them like soft cloth. Finally, with one desperate push, they managed to break free. But they knew one thing with certainty. The railgun shot had awakened something they could not see. Something that was now moving through the galaxy following the same trail. Back on Earth, life continued normally. People laughed, worked, ate meals, and slept peacefully. No one knew entire alien governments were preparing for war. No one knew ancient beings were waking in forgotten star systems. To them, it was just another day. Only a few humans at Luna Base had begun to worry. Inside the main research lab, Dr. Hale stared at the data again and again. The numbers refused to make sense. The railgun shot speed should have slowed long ago. Instead, it was accelerating at a rate he could not calculate. It was like the universe was pushing it forward. Helping it move. Protecting it. Dr. Hale rubbed his forehead, fear slowly building inside him. What have we done? He whispered. He replayed the long-range scan, and his heart nearly stopped. Behind the shot, the strange ripple in space had become larger. No longer a small distortion. Now it was stretching like a giant tear running across the galaxy. Inside that tear, something glowed, something old, something hungry. Back on the Council planet, the debate grew louder. Some wanted to send all fleets toward Earth. Some wanted to beg the humans for mercy. Others believed humans had not done this alone. They whispered about the Ancient Ones, the silent watchers of the void. The ones who slept between stars. The ones who moved only when called. The High Speaker raised his staff again. His voice shook as he said, "We have received the last transmission from the scout ship." He played the recording, and the entire chamber froze in fear. The voice of Captain Chiral was calm but full of terror as he said, "To the Council, the human weapon is not just a weapon." Static crackled through the audio. There is something behind it, following it, learning from it. More static, then a sharp, painful sound. Then the captain whispered the final line. "We did not scan a weapon trail, we scanned a summoning." The entire council hall started murmuring in panic. Some shouted demands to leave the galaxy. Some believed the humans had awakened a god. Some believed the shot had opened a doorway to a forgotten dimension. Meanwhile, in a hidden star system far from any civilization, an ancient machine rested inside a hollow asteroid. It had not moved in thousands of years. Its metal body was covered with dust and broken memories. But tonight, it opened its single eye. A glowing blue eye that reflected the railgun shot's distant energy. It rose slowly, awakening old gears and forgotten commands. It whispered in a voice only the void could hear. "The signal has returned." And then it began to move. Slowly at first, then faster. Heading directly toward the trail left by the humans. Back at Luna Base, Dr. Hale watched the growing tear in space. His breath shook. His hands trembled. He finally understood something terrifying. The railgun shot did not break the galaxy. It revealed something the galaxy had forgotten. Something that had been waiting. And now it was coming. Straight for Earth. Inside Luna Base, Dr. Hale stood frozen, staring at the data that refused to make sense. The railgun shot should have slowed long ago, but instead, it moved faster and faster. It was like the universe welcomed it. As if the railgun shot was not breaking rules, but following older rules humans had never seen. Rules that belonged to the beginning of everything. Dr. Hale swallowed hard, his heart pounding. He had studied physics his entire life. But this was no physics. This was something ancient, something that felt alive. He sent a message to the command center, calling every senior scientist to the lab. They gathered quickly, confusion glowing in their tired eyes. No one expected what Dr. Hale was about to show them. The hologram displayed the shot's path across unknown space. But then Dr. Hale zoomed in on the trail behind it. A ripple, bright and slow, following the same path like a giant shadow. One scientist whispered, "Is that a wormhole?" Another whispered, "Is that a creature?" Dr. Hale only shook his head. "It is neither," he said softly. "It is something that space is making, because of the shot." The room fell silent as the ripple grew bigger. Then suddenly, the lights flickered. A strange low hum filled the lab, vibrating through the walls. For a moment, everyone felt the air become heavier. Like something huge was pressing against reality. Far away, near the trail, the alien scout ship struggled to stay alive. Captain Chiral held onto his chair tightly as strange symbols grew brighter on every screen. The ship trembled, metal groaned, and sparks fell from the ceiling. The pilot tried to stabilize their path, but space kept twisting around them. It was no longer behaving like normal space. It moved like water touched by an unseen hand. The ripple behind the railgun shot suddenly pulsed again. This time, the pulse passed through the scout ship like a cold wind. The crew gasped as their bodies felt lighter, then heavier, then weightless. One crew member screamed that she could hear whispering voices inside her skull. Voices speaking in languages no one had ever heard. Captain Chiral shouted for calm, but even he felt the strange presence crawling across his thoughts. It was not hostile. It was curious. It was trying to understand them. The ship finally broke free from the ripple's pull. But their communications remained dead. Captain Chiral tried sending a distress call again, but only static filled the speakers. The symbols on the screen slowly faded, leaving behind a warning message written in their own language. It said only 2 words. It wakes. Back on the council planet Jalor, fear had become desperation. The leaders listened to the last moments of the scout ship's report before the signal died. No one wanted to believe the recordings. But the evidence was clear. The humans had fired a railgun shot that awakened something older than all their civilizations combined. One leader slammed his claws against the table. This is impossible, no weapon can waken ancient power. Another replied in a shaking voice. Maybe the weapon didn't do it. Maybe the humans touched a path that was always there. Maybe they stepped on something sleeping. The high speaker closed his eyes and whispered the words no one wanted to hear. The prophecy of the deep path. The chamber erupted with panic. Legend spoke of a long-forgotten cosmic being that created the first pathways of space. A being that slept between dimensions waiting for a signal to rise again. A being only known as the architect of the void. The council connected the dots quickly. The railgun shot had followed a line of cosmic energy that was never meant to be touched. A hidden route of the ancient architect. And firing along that route had sent a signal. A call. A key. Something that told the architect. It is time to wake. Back at Luna Base, the scientists still tried to make sense of the strange hum shaking the station. The lights flickered again, and Dr. Hale stepped toward the main screen. He froze, unable to breathe. The ripple behind the railgun shot had changed shape. It now looked like a giant eye. A cosmic eye made of light and darkness, slowly opening in the fabric of space. A young scientist gasped. I think, it's looking at us. Dr. Hale whispered back. No. It's looking for us. For the first time, the humans realized something terrifying. The shot wasn't moving alone. Something ancient followed it. Something that was waking and learning and growing. Something that remembered the first days of the universe. Meanwhile, in a distant forgotten system of broken stars, an ancient machine that had slept for millions of years floated quietly. Its metal body was cracked, its memory faded. But when the railgun shot passed through the system's edge, its sensors lit up for the first time in ages. The machine's single blue eye opened slowly. Its deep mechanical voice echoed across the void. The architect is stirring. It activated old weapons, old engines, old power cells that still held sparks of forgotten fury. Then it turned toward the direction of the human sector. And began to move. Back on Luna Base, Dr. Hale felt a cold fear crawl up his spine. He stared at the giant cosmic eye on the screen. It blinked once. And the lab lights went out. Only the glow of the cosmic eye remained. Its silent gaze growing brighter. As if it had finally found what it was searching for. Humanity. Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. Stars that had burned steadily for millions of years suddenly flickered like candles in a storm. Nebulas twisted into shapes that looked like giant spirals, turning slowly as if following an invisible music. Space itself felt different, like a giant heartbeat was moving through the cosmos. Every scientist who saw these changes felt the same cold fear. Something old was returning. Something powerful enough to shake the rules of the universe. On the council planet Jalor, chaos had become normal. Communication screens flashed warnings from every empire. Battles had broken out between smaller races, each blaming the other for the space distortions. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. It all began after the railgun shot. And whatever was following that shot was responsible. The high speaker stared at new data sent by hidden probes. The glowing ripple had grown even larger, becoming a swirling tunnel of bending space. Inside it, something massive was pushing its way into the galaxy. He whispered softly. The architect of the void is crossing. The entire council chamber fell silent. No one dared breathe too loudly. Meanwhile, the alien scout ship drifted helplessly near the trail. Every system was dying, every screen was fading. The crew lay on the floor, exhausted from the mental pressure of the cosmic whispers. Only Captain Chiral remained conscious, gripping the console as he tried one more time to send a message. Static answered him again. But then something new appeared on the screen. A single glowing symbol. One he had seen before. The same symbol that marked the ancient ruins found in forbidden systems centuries ago. The mark of the architect. Chiral's breath trembled. The ship shook again as another wave of energy passed through. This time the whispering voices grew louder, clearer. They spoke in thousands of tones, mixing like storms. But their message felt simple. It was calling. Calling something forward through the broken space. Back on Earth, the humans still lived normal lives. Children played, people worked, cities glowed with light. No one knew their future was being rewritten light years away. Inside Luna Base, tension filled every room. Dar, Hale and his team watched the cosmic eye grow brighter on their screens. The hum of the base deepened, rattling the walls. Some monitors cracked under the pressure of unseen forces. Yet the scientists continued working, trying to understand the shape forming inside the tear in space. Dar, Hale zoomed into the cosmic tear. His hands shook as the image sharpened. A gargantuan structure was emerging from the distortion. Its form was impossible to describe fully. Part metal, part energy, part living darkness. It looked like a massive titan carved from a collapsed star. Its limbs stretched for miles, wrapped in cables that glowed faint blue. Its chest had a giant circular hole like a silent engine waiting for command. And at its center, the cosmic eye opened wider, staring directly down the trail toward Earth. One young scientist covered her mouth in shock. It is using the railgun trail, she whispered. Dar, Hale nodded slowly. Yes. It is following it. The realization hit the room like thunder. They had not just awakened something. They had given it a road to follow. A path. A direction. Across the galaxy, ancient machines began to power on. Some were buried under ice worlds. Some hidden beneath oceans. Some floating in dead star systems untouched for ages. Each machine opened glowing eyes, recognizing the signal from the architect. They turned toward the human sector one by one. Their purpose forgotten by time but restored by the architect's call. The galaxy trembled as old memories returned. Memories of wars fought before recorded history. Memories of massive battles where the architect shaped entire galaxies with one command. Memories that had been erased to protect the younger races from fear. Now those memories returned like lightning across the minds of ancient species. Back in the council chamber, a shadow fell across the ceiling as a massive hologram loaded. The high speaker showed the entire room the new data. Everyone gasped as they saw the giant structure emerging from the cosmic tear. One general nearly collapsed as he whispered. That is not a weapon. Another voice whispered. That is a god. No one corrected him. Because they all felt the same truth. Suddenly the chamber lights dimmed. The hologram flickered violently. Then a new message appeared on the screen. It was from the ancient machine that had awakened earlier. Its single blue eye filled the display as its deep voice echoed across the hall. The architect is coming. Prepare your worlds. Prepare your fate. And above all, prepare humanity. The message ended, leaving the chamber colder than before. No one understood why the ancient machine mentioned humans specifically. But the answer sat quietly behind the railgun trail, moving closer with every pulse. Back on Luna Base, alarms exploded through the hallways as the cosmic tear suddenly widened. The giant structure, half Titan, half cosmic engine, shifted its limbs slowly. Every movement sent waves of gravity that shook moons. Inside the lab, papers flew off tables, screens shattered, and workers struggled to stay upright. Hale grabbed the edge of his desk as he shouted. "It is locking onto the trail. It is coming directly toward us." The scientists watched in horror as the cosmic titan leaned forward. Its massive torso glowed with strange lights, symbols, and patterns no human language could translate. Its cosmic eye focused into a sharp beam, pointing exactly at the solar system. And then it began advancing. Slow at first. But every step made space bend and scream like glass being crushed. Across the galaxy, thousands of sensors picked up the Titan's movement. Every empire saw the same thing. The architect was awake. It was walking through space. And its destination was Earth. The final moments show the Titan's enormous shadow moving through the cosmic tear. Stars flickered in fear. Wormholes collapsed like broken mirrors. Galaxies trembled as the architect followed the railgun's trail like a path made just for it. And deep inside its core, something whispered a name humans did not yet know. A name tied to their future. A name tied to their destruction or their rise. A name the universe had been waiting for. Humanity. Across the silent deep of space, the architect moved like a walking star. Each step twisted gravity, each movement bent space like soft cloth. The galaxy had seen powerful weapons, deadly fleets, and ancient machines. But nothing had ever walked like this. Nothing had awakened with such purpose. And nothing had ever followed a trail made by humans. The architect's massive limbs glowed with strange blue and silver light. Its cosmic eye stayed fixed on the direction of Earth. The railgun trail acted like a guiding string, shining through space like a bright line. The Titan followed it without hesitation. As if the humans had unknowingly opened a road meant only for gods to walk. Inside Luna Base, chaos filled every room. Sirens screamed, walls vibrated, and scientists ran between labs carrying broken equipment. The cosmic tear grew larger on every monitor. The Titan's shadow covered the entire screen now. Hale tried to steady his breathing, but fear climbed into his chest like a cold hand. He stared at the data and whispered. "It is accelerating. It will reach our system faster than anything we have ever seen." A young scientist stared at the growing tear and shook her head. How can something that big move so fast? Hale gave the only answer he had. It moves with the rules it created. Meanwhile, deep in space, fractions of alien fleets gathered in panic. Ships belonging to races that once hated each other now floated side by side. Not in alliance. But in fear. Because every ship saw the same thing on their sensors. A shape larger than anything in recorded history, marching through galaxies like a living storm. One alien commander looked at his screen and muttered. "If it reaches Earth, everything ends." Another replied, trembling. "Or everything begins." Back on the Council World Jalor, the leaders met for what they believed might be the last time. The High Speaker's voice cracked as he delivered the final report. The architect has crossed 7 sectors in one cycle. It has awakened 19 ancient machines. And it has rewritten space in every system it passed. Shock rippled through the chamber like a wave. The hologram changed, showing the Titan raising one massive arm. It looked like it was touching the fabric of space itself. Twisting it, shaping it, bending it into a new path. One council member collapsed to his knees. "This is the end," he whispered. "The old god walks again." But the High Speaker raised his staff firmly. "It is not the end. Because the architect is not coming for us. It is coming, for the humans. The entire chamber trembled as the truth settled inside everyone's minds. The humans, the youngest major race in the galaxy. The humans, who built a railgun without knowing the danger. The humans, whose single shot awakened something no one could control. Were now standing at the center of everything. On Earth, military commands scrambled as Luna Base sent emergency transmission after transmission. Humans around the world watched live feeds of the cosmic tear playing on news screens. People stared in silence, in confusion, in disbelief. Most thought it was a glitch. Some thought it was a joke. But soldiers, pilots, and scientists knew better. This was real. And it was coming toward them. Inside Luna Base, Dr. Hale finally gathered his team. He spoke with a steady voice, but fear was visible in his eyes. We must tell the world the truth. The railgun shot didn't hit anything. It created a signal. A call. And that call woke something ancient. Before he could continue, the base shook violently. A beam of cosmic light passed through the sky above the moon. Not an attack. A scan. The architect was scanning the solar system. Looking, searching, measuring. The Titan slowed, its cosmic eye narrowing. As if it sensed something important. Something familiar. Something human. Across the galaxy, millions of aliens watched sensor feeds with breathless fear. The architect stood at the edge of the solar system now. Its body glowed brighter than nearby stars. Its limbs stretched open like wings that could cover planets. Then, in a slow, terrifying movement, it leaned closer toward the sun. Every sensor, every scanner, every ship trembled. Then the Titan spoke. Not with sound. But through the minds of every conscious being across the galaxy. A deep, ancient voice echoed inside thoughts. I have been called. I have been awakened. I follow the path of the deep signal. On Luna Base, Dr. Hale staggered backward, clutching his head. His eyes widened as the voice continued. The one who fired the signal, must stand before me. Humans across Earth froze. They had never heard a mind voice before. But the architect's words reached every soul. Every thought. Every mind. The Titan lifted its arm, the cosmic hole in its chest glowing brighter. Ships across nearby sectors malfunctioned at the sheer pressure of the light. The architect spoke again. Humanity. You have touched the first path. You have awakened the architect of the void. And now, you must face what you have called. The entire solar system shook as the Titan took one step closer. Planets trembled, stars flickered, wormholes collapsed like fragile bubbles. Inside Luna Base, Dr. Hale stared at the screen in pure horror. He swallowed and whispered. It is not here to destroy us. One scientist whispered back. Then why is it coming? Dr. Hale replied with a trembling voice. It is coming to judge us. The final shot of the chapter zooms out as the architect towers at the edge of the solar system. Its cosmic eye glowing like a blue sun. Its limbs stretching across half the star map. And Earth, small and fragile, waits silently in its shadow. As the Titan's voice echoes one last message across the galaxy. Humanity. Your destiny begins now.